are sometimes too complicated, making it very hard for taxpayers. In fact, it is causing taxpayer apathy. One of the principles of taxation is simplicity, fairness, equity. Our tax system is not simple. In fact, I just forgot to carry. I wanted to read to this committee, Mr. Speaker, a provision in the, do I call it defeated or withdrawn finance bill of 2024? Clause 12, calculating minimum tax, top-up tax. You need to be a very smart accountant to calculate that. Lot of formula, different jargons. You cannot have such kind of legislations and expect to collect revenue. So we need to simplify our tax laws and tax system. If there are, I'm going to work around and check the tax laws that are complicated, that are causing us to lose money. Because when taxpayers realize that it is very difficult and complicated and costly to comply, they will not comply. So we must lower the cost of compliance to taxation. Pending bills, will I pay or not? It is not even me to pay. Authentic bills must be paid. Bills that can be confirmed. And my comment is we must put a stop. Going forward, there should be no discussion anymore on pending bills. Let us deal with the historical bills and pay them. But going forward, let us not allow MDAs to accumulate more pending bills. And by the way, you'll remember, I have a constitutional mandate. Actually, it is in the statutes. If accounting officer fails to do what should be done, we can withdraw that power from accounting officer. And that power is with the Cabinet Secretary for Finance. So I am not scaring anyone, but let them be on notice that if you are not going to do what is provided for in the PFM Act, please, you will not be an accounting officer of the government of Kenya. On Mrugara's questions, will I be firm? This one I think Honorable Mrugara has an answer. Because, you see, those who know me...
He wants to hear from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, those who know me know my level of firmness. That does not mean I'm disrespectful. You must know who your boss is. You must know where your loyalty lies. But loyalty does not mean that you must be a yes person. I have, in a number of occasions, disagreed with my party leader, who was my boss in the party. You wouldn't know about it out there. Honorable Junet would know. Family, but I don't talk about it, because then that would be disrespectful. So if I am told to do what I should not do, I will not do it, if it is not provided in law. Because my duty number one is to protect, safeguard the Constitution. I hope that answers.
Owen.
On the last one.
Yes.
On pilferage of public resources, I think this.
It has been the streak
that
of
I have
answers.
Addressed even previously.
It has
Thank
been
you.
The streak of your answers. Owen.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, Honorable John Mbadi. Two quick questions. One, VAT refunds and tax refunds is actually one of the loopholes that people use to pilferage funds in this in the government. And you're an accountant, you understand this. I've heard you talk about it. Now that you're in that seat, how are you going to ensure that we don't continue to lose funds through tax refunds, especially VAT refunds? What mechanism will you put? And courts have been used as a means to sabotage government, that people, if you must give back money to taxes, they rush to court, and a lot of money actually is held. Billions of shillings is held because there are court cases, and therefore government cannot access it. What are you going to do to unlock that money, reduce corruption in terms of VAT, and ensure that there's enough cash flow? Secondly, equally, I know you're a believer in constitutionalism. If you look at the Constitution, it's very clear. You have money for counties, you have money for national government. There's also another fund called Equalization Fund, for which many cabinet secretaries have never taken it seriously. And therefore, they pay counties, they pay national government, but Equalization Fund is put under the carpet. And actually, it is Treasury which manages it. unlike the other funds, and therefore they never, and yet Constitution is very clear on equalization fund, but this money has never, I think it was disbursed only once. If approved, John Mbadi, what are you going to do about it? And lastly, John.
Thank you.
But this is very important.
Two questions.
This is very
you
important,
asked.
Speaker, if you allow me. You have, in your career in Parliament as a public, I don't want to call you a politician, but a public service servant. You have disagreed a lot with a lot of the issues that have come from Treasury, a lot in Parliament. You have disagreed. Those are actually prepared by mandarins that you will find there, you know, and especially on finance bill and matters finance, you've agreed with them totally in almost everything as you've been leader of a minority in. How are you going to change? Are you going to change the people? Or you will become, you know, there's a popular saying that same monkeys, same forest. You know, are you going to be one of the monkeys now there? Or are you going to say, I want all the monkeys out and you become the bigger monkey and manage? Thank you.
Robert?
Thank you, Speaker. From skunks to monkeys. Now, Speaker, you'll allow me two quick questions, one on integrity and the other one on capacity of the nominee. And from the words of the nominee, trust level has gone down, and that's one of the problems we are facing. Now, this is a public office that you've been nominated to that requires serious public trust. I want to take you back. Today you've admitted that there are very many good provisions that were lost in the finance bill. In fact, you're looking for ways by which you will be able to redeem. But you on the floor vehemently opposed this finance bill. In fact, at every clause you said, reject the bill. So now, doesn't this make you appear pretentious, deceitful, and probably a master at doublespeak? And why should Kenyans trust you? Because you've been on record and Kenyans watched and listened to you. Now, on the other bit, still on integrity, you know, we've had this case that one of your predecessors ended up in court on the issue of the dams, Aro and Kimwarer. I was in Parliament with you and we discussed this severally on the floor. These are payments that were made when, in fact, even the feasibility studies probably had not been completed. How will you make sure that these kind of payments will never again materialize from Treasury? And now on the issue of capacity, as Azimio, where you are a member until just the other day, we were alarmed by the Kenya Kwanza plans to increase taxes and borrow more, and we are saying we are not even seeing the development out of that money. Noting that Kenyans do not want punitive and excess taxes, and at the same time, the young ones have said they don't want us to borrow. Can you tell us how you will navigate that space?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, nominee, Honorable Mbadi. Honorable Mbadi, you are getting into Treasury, whereby our health sector is extremely underfunded based on the Abuja Declaration and the United Nations recommendation on how countries should finance the health sector. In Kenya, the health sector highly depends on donors, and the donor basket is shrinking, and United Nations is requesting countries to increase domestic financing. The challenge comes whereby the resources within the country are also shrinking. How do you tell Kenyans that they will enjoy universal health care and quality health care with the kind of scenarios I've explained, and how will you navigate to make sure that money sent from national government to county government, in preview that health sector is devolved, are ring-fenced for Kenyans to get health quality service at the county government as a minister for, as a nominee, and if you're approved by this government, this committee, how will you make sure that the finances meant for health sector really goes to the health sector in this country?
You can answer those.
Thank you. Let me start with, Mr. Speaker, let me start with the questions directed to me from Honorable Owen Bayer, the Deputy Leader of Majority. On VAT refunds, Mr. Speaker, we have the this is what we call the tax expenditure. It is costing us quite a bit, in fact, almost $500 million every year to refund taxes, a lot of which are fictitious. It means there is a problem with the system, and that system must be corrected. But again, I think we need to, as a tax expert, and Mr. Speaker, I think I'm one of the people who can explain clearly the difference between zero rating and exempt commodities in this country. But I don't want to bore you with those explanations. I just want to mention that I think we need to have a conversation whether those items which we need to subsidize through VAT so that we don't expose Kenyans to untold sufferings as a result of high cost of living, we may think of most of them go to exempt categories so that we avoid the zero rating of commodities which result in tax refunds. Because tax refunds is largely, especially on VAT, as a result of zero rated commodities. Yes, the prices will slightly increase because zero rated commodities become cheaper in the long run if it is properly administered. And I want to be very careful there because the zero rated commodity, sometimes the benefit is not passed to the consumers. So we need to emphasize and have almost every item that we want to still subsidize under VAT under exempt commodity. Then you will eliminate the issue of tax expenditure in that line. The other issue is also on the advance taxes that we pay. We must have a system that captures these advance taxes properly so that when finally the taxpayer files returns, they don't claim tax refunds which they don't merit. Then we will minimize the issue of tax expenditure. On equalization fund, I can't agree with you more. This fund must be operationalized. I know there are some challenges. When I get to the Treasury, if you approve my nomination, Mr. Speaker, I will find out what are these challenges. I'm told there are issues about whether to use counties or areas. The Constitution actually talks about areas. It doesn't talk about counties. But we should also not spread it too thin because we know it is stemming from Article 201, Mr. Speaker, where there should be inclusivity, there should be equity in developing our country, using our public resources to develop the country uniformly. So we should not spread it too thin. There are certain regions in this country which have been marginalized over the years, from Sessional Paper number 10 of 1965. Those regions deserve attention, and we had only 20 years to do this. I know Parliament can change that, but why don't we utilize that properly? So when I get to the Treasury, I will make sure that this fund is properly operational. Every year the money is released. It's not even a lot of money to attend to issues of health, roads, electricity, and water. It's only targeting 4 areas. Finally, on that matter, Mr. Speaker, I speak with passion because I know what marginalization is all about. Mr. Speaker, I recognize myself both as a Luo and as a Suba. My mother is a Luo, or the late mother was a Luo. My late father was a Suba. So because in our society, you take your father's ethnicity.
Patriarchal.
I'm so a Suba, so I am a Suba. Subas don't even constitute 2%, so we are a minority. I know what it means to be marginalized. I have been disagreeing with the National Treasury. No, I have not actually been disagreeing. I've actually
You've been holding just a different opinion.
Yeah, a different opinion. And by the way, now those opinions, we will have difference of opinion, Mr. Speaker, at the source. So it doesn't have to come to Parliament. Those opinions, the differences will now be at the source.
And they will be harmonized there.
And they will be harmonized, and I will finally, Mr. Speaker, take the same to the cabinet. I'm the one who will be defending these tax measures, or whatever it is, whether budget estimates, or it is BPS. I'm the one who will now be presenting them to the cabinet. I must present something that I'm convinced, I understand, and I agree with. But that does not mean that only my ideas will have to be taken. No, you must accept also to be advised. These people have wealth of knowledge. Some of them know probably even more than I do in matters of economics. So I will listen to them, but I'll take the responsibility. Honorable Mbui, it's now not trusting me. But, Mr. Speaker, you know Honorable Mbui was actually my deputy for 5 years. And he knows that I can be trusted. On the rejection of the bill, Mr. Speaker, we understand the circumstances. Actually, we were responding to Kenyans. And I was actually, Honorable Junet is helping me by telling me the whip was applied. I am a very faithful and loyal member of it. By the way, I have been a member of the Economic Council of Azimio, advising the leader of Azimio on economic matters. And I was convinced that even though there were some good provisions in the bill, which I mentioned when I was contributing on the floor of the House, you gave me 5 minutes as a speaker. And I said there are some good ones, but the bad ones now have made the good ones look bad. You know, and so the public made a referendum. There was a referendum, an official referendum by the public on this bill. Mr. Speaker, if you looked at the social space, everybody was saying reject. And since I am representing people, not stones, not animals, I had to listen to the people and do what they wanted, Mr. Speaker, by rejecting the bill. So there is no inconsistency. My trust level is still where it was on the Mbui. And by the way, I don't think I'm not a member of Azimio. I am, only that I'm not an official of Azimio. I mean, I'm not holding any political office. I'm still a member of ODM, by the way. On Arao and Kimwarer, that, I must say, contracts in this country, Mr. Speaker, and my stint as the chair of Public Accounts Committee has taught me something, that the contracts that we sign, especially financial contracts, are lopsided. They are helping the lenders more than they help the country. Why on earth would you start paying interest on money that you have not received? I don't understand it. I don't get it. And this is why I'm saying when I get to the Treasury, if you approve my appointment, my nomination, I will have to get the opinion of the Attorney General. Because you find a lot of money, Mr. Speaker. It will come in the report of Public Accounts Committee. We pay so much money on undrawn funds because it is provided in the contracts. And so those issues around Aurora and Kimwarer and such like equivalent projects, Honorable Mbui, have confidence, will not happen during my tenure. Finally, on Honorable Mbui, how would we navigate the lack of funds? We know there's lack of sufficient exchequer in this country, and that's why we have to divest and move to other areas which are off balance sheet, as I've mentioned before. But more importantly, our project management system. We have 437, Mr. Speaker, that is the latest data that I have, of stalled projects. This is where we have invested money, but they have become white elephants. We must do these stalled projects and see those ones which we can pick up, take them up, and complete them. Those which you can treat as sunk cost, and discontinue them. But, Mr. Speaker, there should be coordination between national and county governments. You find a huge government project, national government project, which was developed even from 10 years ago, in a county, lying there, yet a county government is constructing another state-of-the-art block of offices. Why can't we have a system where national government can surrender to county government some of these bills so that they can complete and use them? On Honorable Mule, Mr. Speaker, I'm trying to move fast. I hope I'm doing justice to all the questions.